Hey everybody, it's Sean Hayes with 77 Mowers. In my last video, I talked to you about keeping your fuel fresh and using stabilizer if you're going to have that fuel longer than 30-ish days. Today we're going to talk about keeping your fuel clean. Your car has a fuel filter. If you drive a truck, it has a fuel filter. Some lawnmowers do have fuel filters in them, some don't. Quick search on Amazon, you can find a pack of these. There's other different styles available. I like these because if you see there, it's got a whole little paper cone filter in there. And then in the very tip, it has, you can see it right there, there's a magnet. And if there's any metallics or anything in the fuel, don't laugh, it can happen. That magnet will pick it up, it'll hold it. And then after a while, you might want to change that filter. I'll show you how to install one of these today on an Ariens. As I mentioned, we're going to do a fuel filter on this Briggs & Stratton 6.75 EX engine on this Ariens mower. I've already unscrewed the cover, so I'm just going to take that off, nice and easy. And then what you'll find is if you look down right in here, you can see the fuel line. The fuel line's right here, and it runs all the way over here to the tank. Where you want your filter is somewhere around here, because there's a little nozzle out of your tank that goes into the fuel line, and that's what this clip holds on to. And then there's a little nozzle that comes off your carburetor right there, and that little clip holds on to that. So you want your fuel filter somewhere in the middle, right around here. And then what we'll do is we'll cut that fuel line and install the fuel filter. For easy visual part, probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this air box, and I'll tilt the tank back, and then that way it's a lot easier to get into there. And then while I'm having it apart, I may clean the carburetor. It doesn't really need it, it's already been done, but may do it again. So just to show you where we're at, there's a bolt that goes in here, here, and here that holds on the back of the air filter cover. Just pull that off, put that somewhere. Okay, that gives you a better view of where the fuel filter will go. And what you'll find is the filter will actually sit nicely right here. So you want to take your filter that you're going to use. There's different kinds available. And you just want to kind of get a mental note where it's going to go, and make sure you have enough space, but mental note where it's going to go so you know where to make your first cut. Ultimately, the first cut is going to be made on this side here, and then I'll slide it on, and I'll make another note, maybe make a mark on the line here, and I'll cut that, and then I'll slide that tube in there. Don't forget your little clips. The kit I got does actually come with more clips, so don't forget you need to put these on, because otherwise the fuel line won't wrap around the inlet and outlet on the filter properly, and then as soon as you take the clamp or vice grips or whatever you got off your fuel line, you're just going to start spewing fuel everywhere, and that can get quite messy and quite gross. So there's the new setup. I put in new fuel line, I added the filter, all the new clips. I'm not quite going to reassemble this end of the tube, the fuel line, to the carburetor on the inlet right here. I'm actually going to stop because I've got something else that I need to do on this mower, and before I put all this back together, I've got to take off the engine cover, move the oil tube and the exhaust system on this side in order to change another part. So rather than putting this all back together, having the fuel come through, having to shut it off again, clamp it off, drain the fuel out of the line, and tilt the tank back like the way it is right now, I'm actually gonna do and film another video on that repair, and then I'll continue with the fuel line video. So just a quick recap, what we've done here is we've added in this fuel line. on the Briggs & Stratton 6.75 EX engine on this Ariens lawnmower. I added new fuel line. I changed it in general just because the original fuel line was actually a little bit thicker on the outer diameter, not the inner diameter. So what ended up happening was the clips that they gave me, they would not go over and they wouldn't secure properly where they're supposed to be. So I didn't want to use them again. I didn't want to use the old line again. So they gave me new line. I figured why not change it to, it's really not that big of a deal. So that's all changed up. I just got to put this clip on the inlet to the carburetor. And if you look here, you can see there's now fuel in the filter. It's getting all cleaned up before it goes into the carburetor and junks up your carburetor. So I'm just gonna put my phone down here into this makeshift holder I've got here. We're gonna clamp that little clamp, grip it with a pair of pliers, and then we're just going to fold this forward just like it was before, and take my phone if you remember. Perfect. It sits in there nice and well. I think it's going to work really well. So let's get the top end of this mower back together. There's 3 little screws that go and hold the tank. That's my other. Put that one in. Goes in there. We got one more screw. I know you see more of my back than anything on the other side here. We'll get that in. That's nice and snug. Okay. And now we've got to reassemble the air box for the filter. On the back of the air box for the filter, you've got this little inlet here, this little nozzle. That goes on this tube right here. So make sure when you're putting this back, that goes on the tube, and you just give it a little push, nothing excessive, just give it a little tiny push. Again, nothing too tight. You don't want to over tighten, because these are just plastic parts. And if you strip the holes, you're into buying new parts. I apologize for my neighbor's dog, if you can hear it. If you strip these little plastic parts, they're no good to you. And your little adventure to maintain your mower is going to end up costing you money for new parts. So don't over tighten. That's almost it. There's one more piece, obviously the important piece. Ultimately, it is a new filter. I just put it in. So you know you're going to want, if you're going to pull all this apart, just make sure you have a nice new clean air filter. Keep your engine nice and healthy. Breathe nice. If you're going to make it drink nice clean fuel, you might as well make it breathe nice clean air. Again, not too tight, just a little snug. And that is it. That's all you got to do. Easy, quick repairs. You know, they seem complex. They seem overly hard. They're really not. They can be easy, but what I will suggest is if you're not comfortable taking on a repair like this, then don't. You can mess stuff up. If that fuel line had started leaking and I didn't notice it, and I started the mower and it got hot, it could catch fire. Now you're talking catastrophe. You know, possible damage to yourself. Who knows? If you're not comfortable with it, please don't. You know, hire somebody or get somebody that does know what they're doing or is comfortable with doing it. If you're comfortable with doing it, then just like me, you know, I'm not a certified mechanic. I just love this stuff, and this is what I do. I'll call it part-time, I guess. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, get these rags off of here. I'm not going to put the engine cover back on yet. Over here, I'm not going to put that back on yet. I want to take it down. I want to fire it up, and I want to check some things. The last owner didn't really maintain this mower very well. So when I got it, it didn't run at all. This spring was a little bit overstretched. I don't know how you did that, but so I've changed that. You saw in the other video, I did the heat sensitive arm for the auto choke. This right here, this is the governor spring, and you can change the idle by bending this tab. That was way out of whack. I think I've got it close to where I want it, to the proper spec RPM, but I do have an RPM gauge. I will check that before I deliver this. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much done. Hopefully I can deliver this mower to the new owner. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, hit all that good stuff. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and here on YouTube. I'd love to see your comments below. If you have anything that you want to see in the future, let me know.